Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler, and you've arrived at day 49 of the 100 Days of Zentangle Project 2020. Thank you all so much for being with me today. Our pattern today is going to be ZAP. It is by Joan Stark, and she has several that are really interesting on tanglepatterns.com. So I really encourage you to go check out her step out and the art that goes with it, because as always, I have my own interpretation on these, and I think that we should. So let's get into it. This is the basic pattern here. It is a radial pattern, and this is the last in our week-long collaboration with Tangle and Inspire. And so this is another radial tangle. It is formed very similarly to some of the other ones we have done, with the exception being that we're going to have these long jagged edges, like in these examples, instead of rounded ones like we have had before. So let's get busy on this. I have decided to use a Zentangle tile, a Zentangle Zentangle tile, which is just a fancy word for saying it's like a mandala, but you know. Okay, so this, I have very lightly penciled a dot in the center of this, because if I don't get it in the center, then I'm going to have some wacky off the side thing. And we know how I react to those. And, you know, we don't need all that business today. ZAP starts, as so many of these do, with an orb. Oh, with an orb in the center. Oh. Okay, I'm getting some kind of weird glare off the light, and it's causing me to see just a little nimbus to the side, and it's just weirding me out. So, orb, we've done this over and over and over the last week. So what's different about this? Well, what's different about this is that, and these are just some playful examples that I was drawing earlier. You can see I switched my pen accidentally and ended up with sepia, which happens to me a lot. This is the tangle as we're going to do it today, okay? It's got lots of jagged edges. This is my version of it with not quite so jagged edges. It's not quite the same. It's not quite the same thing, I found. Nothing wrong with either version, and I really am attracted to this sort of explosion, if you will. I like that. And here I played with, well, what would happen if I was sort of wondering if I could make this look wilted, because I'm me. And you can do some of that, but then on the areas where you're going straight up, then we're not doing this in perspective. So, you know, it presents some problems. Not saying it can't be done. This also, as the other radial tangles, will work really well from a corner. So let's explore this. So the basic shape of what we're going to do is a jagged three-pointed thing where the middle point comes back in, or where the middle point is longer than the other two. Okay, and then I'm going to go opposite to that and put another one right across from it. And I'm going to turn this to the side, and I'm going to repeat this. Now, you don't want to get these all the way touching on this row. You want to have little gaps, probably a little bit bigger gaps, in the middle of these. So it took me a couple of times drawing this in to sort of get my feel for it, but once you do, it isn't hard. So then you turn your tile and you're going to add these strokes on the diagonal and just squish them in. Okay? They don't have to be perfect. This pattern in particular is you're going to love it no matter if your little jaggedy pieces are perfect or not. It's going to look very cool when you get done. And I'm just squishing it in. Okay? So when you finish the first 2 rounds, you have something that looks like this, sort of a starburst pattern. Cool? Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to go between each of these petals and put in another one. Okay, so for example, like this. Okay, and go to each place where you have 2 coming together. These are going to get progressively larger. Just try to do each row approximately the same, but a lot of this is dictated by the size of the area that you're working in. So we're just going to draw in one of these across each place where the first row has 2 together, if that makes any sense. Sometimes I know exactly what I want to say, it just doesn't come out right. Okay. And if you get it in slightly the wrong place, do not sweat it. Trust me, when we get done, nobody's going to notice, which is the beauty of these. And I love the jagged look. I'm trying to think what flower this reminds me of. Simba's asleep on me, so who knows where we're going to end up. And right now, I'm just filling in the gaps between the 2 that I just added. Okay? If some of these aren't quite right, then don't sweat it. You can tell that we're going to have a lot of these in here. And so it's going to be interesting before we get done. And nobody's going to stand there and look at each individual little petal. At least, I don't think so. Did I forget this one? Okay, well, this definitely needs one. So we're going to put one in. This definitely needs one. Now at this point, this becomes very zenful. As you're stroking each one of these little petal shapes in, just let your mind relax. Breathe. Funny that I should have to remind us all to do that so often. And I'm one of the worst ones. As soon as my mind gets all frustrated about something, the first thing that stops happening is my breathing. Just keep turning your tile in a circle. Adding an element in each gap. Turning your tile and doing it again. zigzag, turn your tile, zigzag. Okay, when you get to this point, it's really hard to get this wrong. Turn your tile each time so you don't lose your place like I just did for a sec. And if you do lose your place, just keep going. Really highly recommend you guys just relax with this. Drawing your little zigzags. Getting slightly larger each time. Turn your tile. Turning your tile is one of the most important things you can do to keep things even when you're working in a circle. And since I didn't draw this, this is definitely a circle. Which is good. It's good I didn't draw it. Sometimes it's easy to get lost in here and forget where you're at. Just look for the next logical gap and go for it. If you get one in the wrong place, it's not going to be the end of the world. But don't give in to the inclination to fill it out in one area and then go to the next. You want to keep going in order, turning your tile. Not that getting these out of order is a big deal. It's not. I'm pulling to the left today, guys. Sort of how I do when I walk. Pull to the left. That's actually one of the ways I knew that something was going on with me that wasn't normal, was that I kept tripping over the same curb every day walking into work. Constantly. I would watch for it. It happened over and over again every day. I would lift my foot up so carefully and still trip over it and fall on my hands and knees. It's just craziness. And that was when I figured out finally that I had nerve damage on the left side of my body, and it wasn't working the way that I thought it should. So, funny the things you find out when you fall down, isn't it? Each one of these is getting progressively larger. Okay, I'm not sure that's any better. We tried it though, didn't we? Keep turning your tile. Add an element. Turn your tile. You don't want to get lost in this simply because you'll get something uneven out of it. And since I know that's not what I want, of course you guys can have uneven if that makes you happy. Sometimes in art, a little unevenness is very interesting for the eye and really can take something nice and pleasant to wow. So symmetry isn't everything. It's just a lot. Okay. So I'm starting to have bigger gaps, clearly. And we may have to do a little orb action in here, but as this is now larger and we're going around the edge, I'm going to want to start paying attention to where I start these strokes and where I end them. Because what we're going to have are these little spots that don't have any elements covering them. And then, you know, I don't want to put orbs in this type of a thing. It would, well, it might work, but I can't do it with enough regularity to make it, I think, for me, work in this pattern. So I'm going to make an effort At this point, it's up to you where you start and stop and how much you add around the corners. Zoom out just a tiny bit. So I'm going to put in a few more over here. And I may be overthinking this. That is definitely something that I do. It always caused me issues on tests. And this is the tangle. This is it. Oh, well, she adds an aura around the entire thing. So let me do this last part. I think I want to put one more in here. And let's see. I'm going to just put some overlapping in here. Like I said, these don't have to be perfect. In fact, just fill in as you will. Okay, so that's pretty close in to the edge. Put one in there. Like I said, I'm overthinking this way too much. One here. So maybe one here and one here. And so apparently I'm not worrying about my negative space issues today. We're just going to fill in this whole thing because, yeah, really in my heart, I like to fill these in. All right. So now I'm going to go through, just give a real quick look at my lines, make sure I've joined them up. Now, if you have the time, this might look very cool with some rounding on it. I'm not going to take the time for that, at least not on camera. But you know that's where I want to go with this, right? So I'm going to leave little spots that I know aren't technically covered by an element without blackening. Because I think it's going to detract from what's going to happen next. And so the last step before I'm done with the ink is going to be to draw an aura around the whole thing on the outer side, on the outside. So let's do that. I'm going to take my time, as I learned yesterday. Auras take time. Good auras take time. And if your art is good enough to do and to spend time on, it's good enough to take time on. Not sure if that made any sense, but just roll with me, guys. Just roll with me today. And as I go around, if I see any spots where I need some more line work, I can definitely do that. This is a little bit less stressful than yesterday's auras that had to be just perfect. This is a riot, an explosion on this Zendala tile, and it's nobody's really going to notice if your aura lines aren't just perfect. Plus, you're not putting multiple auras unless you decide to do that, in which case they don't have to be consistent with each other. So there's less stress, at least for me, in this type of aura-ing than there is by putting multiple auras, as we did in and color me stupid. Yesterday's clever Jody Genevieve's pattern that I called XLNT. Excellent. Gosh, Cindy. Slow much. I had to watch Aishwarya's video today to catch on to how clever that was. And I should have known. I should have known it was something clever, but I just, yeah, I phoned it in yesterday. See, adding color fries your brain. So since my brain is fried already, we're gonna add color again today. Today I'm going to use my Tombow water-based brush pens to color this tile, because I think it's going to be really fun, cool, and interesting looking. And because I'm a girl, I'm going to use pink. Hot pink. So what do you think about that? I know most of you are going to be fine with that, unless you're a pink hater, and there are those of us around. I'm not one of them. I like pink, but mostly because it goes well with purple, and I'm a purple fiend. So you might be asking yourself, why not purple today? Well, don't ask me that very loudly, or I might change my mind about the pink. See, now you've got me thinking about purple. And I did have a pretty pink. I wanted something bright, and I mean, I missed spring. It's about to be summer. What the heck happened to my springtime? Well, I said it was very relaxing, and it is, but I'm also not being very careful. Which, you know, again, I think when I get the color on, nobody is going to care. I might be wrong about that. I frequently am. But I am going to enjoy the creation of this no matter what. And that's, in the end, what I'm looking for is enjoyment and relaxation. So I've got some really big ones over here and some really small ones over here, and all of that is going to be fine. We're going to have some fun with color now. Okay, so as far as I know, aside from some little ugly places that I will finish up once the color is on, and I might definitely add line weight and rounding on the outside aura. But I think I'm going to wait to try that until after I get everything else colored. So I'm still thinking about purple, guys. You guys shouldn't have made me think about that. It's all your fault. Oh my God. I'm turning into my 10-year-old. And no, he's not here. That's why you don't hear somebody popping off in the other side part of the house. Because that's what they do when they're 10, I guess. Going on 45 with a cigar hanging out of his mouth and a 45. No, I'm just kidding. Sometimes, I swear, they think they're I don't know what it is. Boys no, I think they all do that. No matter what the age. Okay. All right. Enough jabbering. Let's get some coloring in today. All right, I have the pink one ready, so we're going to use pink. Except I'm going to use the hot pink. Okay, this is Tombow. This is number, it's a Tombow marker, water-based marker. This is number 755. It's a dark, sort of a hot pink. And so the way I'm going to approach this is to put just a tiny dab of color at the very base of each one of these. Okay, I don't want to get just a whole lot on there. I just want to use a tiny bit. Now, you don't have to have Tombows, of course. Any water-based marker will work for this. What you want to keep in mind, though, is that quality can matter on this. You want something that's quite easy to dissolve with water. My recommendation is, if you don't have anything, a nice brand, get some Crayola Super Points or Crayola washable markers, because those are highly soluble on the pigments. And so they make really nice replacements. That's what I used before I got my Tombows. And I'm still buying Tombows here and there. You get them in packs of different types of colors. And so you can sort of choose what you're wanting. Now, if you're looking for an entire pack, I'm sure they have those, but I liked just picking and choosing which ones. I like the tropical one, has lots of pastels in it, and I'm down with that. I think this one may be part of that. So now on the second rose, I'm just putting, again, a little bit down at the base of each of these elements. And if they are, if it's this situation, then I don't want to, still don't want to go too far up in here. Hopefully you guys can see this. Let me zoom a little bit. And I'm not just doing a wonderful job or anything. I'm just lightly stroking on a tiny bit of pigment so that I can take my colorless blender and come in here and drag that up onto these petals. Now the other way you can do that is put your dark on the tip of the petal and leave the light on the inside, but I find that harder to execute. So, you know, with me, I'm always trying to pick something that will be easy for me to handle. Okay, so let me show you how this is going to go. So this is my Tombow N00. It is a colorless blender, and you get these with each set that you buy. And I'm just going to take this and start in the pigmented area and draw that up. And I'm going to try to leave the tips white because that will contrast against the elements beside or behind them. Okay, so I'm just looking to get rid of my pen marks and blend the color up just slightly into the little petal shapes. And this takes time. So I will be editing those videos that are longer than an hour is tough. And I always feel like I have missed something, and usually I have. And so I'm really going to try to keep this down, so I probably will speed up some of this brush work. But I wanted to show you how to lay it down, and then how to blend it up. And you can do this with a paintbrush, an aqua brush, you know, anything that you can dampen, but you don't want to use a lot of water. You will get out of control with your ink really quickly, or with your with your color really quickly. And remember, we're just looking for a blend that gets lighter the further up towards the point you go. Okay? It doesn't have to be perfect. Just try to leave a little bit of a white tip. And you can see that the white tips on top of the darker color at the base is a really cool effect, right? Well, hopefully, right? So I loved hearing from those of you who are who have told me what's up in your part of the world, where you are, whether you're opening up or if you're still in lockdown or what's going on. It is so hard. I have stopped watching the news. I get angry really quickly at, well, I'm just going to stop there. The news is frustrating for me. We'll leave it there. No matter what your opinions about anything are, it's frustrating to listen to people fight about things that they should be working together on, but I guess that's part of the life. And yeah. So I stopped watching just a lot. I try to keep up locally with what's up. But Yeah, it's hard. I get very upset, very angry, depressed, that kind of thing if I watch the news too much. So I just don't. And, I try to keep up with the stuff that's important, and the rest of it, I just let it slide. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do, if I can keep it in the camera, and I'm going to go ahead and speed this part up for you. All right? And just enjoy an hour of coloring, guys. This is coloring. I mean, how many of us do not like to color? I'm guessing it's almost all of us appreciate a little bit of coloring in life. So give yourself permission. This is not coloring. This is art. And go have some fun. Okay? I'm going to see you at the end. Don't forget to come back and check in with me. All right. See you in a bit. can finish up however I would like. And I think for me, I'm going to add line weight and rounding on the outer aura. And I may come in with my black Verithin pencil. It's a harder version of Prismacolor Premieres. It's also by Prismacolor, and it's Verithin, V-E-R-I-T-H-I-N. And that's a harder pencil, and it's less opaque, meaning it doesn't cover up everything like the regular Premiere pencils do. But it gives you a sort of a transparent shadow that you can use throughout here. And so what I would do with that then would be to visit each of these elements and darken around the tips of these so that it looks like it's deeper. Well, pretty much like what I've got here, but only enhancing that quality a little bit. Then I definitely want to put something interesting around the edge. I'll probably, since I'm in an orb mood lately, I will probably put some orbs in around there, and we'll just see how it turns out. I appreciate you guys being here today. I hope that you are enjoying, whoa, hello Simba. I hope that you are enjoying adding splashes of color. If you would like to go back to the straight black and white tangling, we can do that, but so many of you guys have been begging me to do this kind of thing, so I just wanted to try a few and see what you thought, and you guys give me your feedback in comments. Would you rather have the traditional type of Zentangle in this challenge, or would you like to have me intersperse some color and different things in there? So let me know in comments. And oh my gosh, tomorrow, guys, it's day 50. 50 days of tangling together. Can you imagine? It's been awesome. So one of the things I want you guys to do before tomorrow is get all of your tiles, all of your journal pages, everything that you've done for the last 50 days together. And I want you to go through and look at all of your art. Look at the things that you did in the beginning and compare them to the things you've done recently. See if you see any improvements. Think about what you've learned. See if those tiles that you didn't like in the beginning don't look so bad to you anymore. Just check them out. And we will do the same thing tomorrow with my tiles too. So I want you guys to know that when I look back through mine, I'm amazed that we did all of this stuff, and many of the things that I just really was not happy with in the making, when I look at them later, they're just amazing. So I want you guys to experience that as well. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow for day 50, and we are going to have to figure out what tangle we're going to do. No sniffing around, you people. All right, Donna. All right. Okay, I'm going to see you guys tomorrow.